So we are studying now the categories, and we are first at the category substance. And the word substance comes from sub, under, and stare, to stay. To stay under accident, the 9 accidents. Accident, of course, does not mean an accident on the street. Huh? It is something which is not necessary, which happen. Okay. So substance can exist in its own right. Exists in its own right. What is the meaning of that? Exists in itself. Not by itself, in itself. Sometimes in Latin they write per se, but they don't like that because it is ambiguous. So in itself or in its own right. But the best is, the simpler is in itself. It is the being existing in itself. For example, my eye, your eye exists in itself. It can change, but it is permanent. No? Permanent. In fact, we can define negatively substance, saying that it does not exist in another. The substance, for example, I can say John is a man. I cannot say man is John. So man, the substance exists. I exist in myself, not by myself, because I am contingent. But my I exists in itself, and the color of my hair, my way, my age, my action, my passion, everything in my life are in my I. So my I is supporting all that. It is my substance. Of course, we don't see the substance. We see the accident. But we arrive to the substance by reasoning. So it is what Kant called the noumen. Or the noumen. That means what is behind the appearance. And the appearance, we call that phenomenon. And he said, we know only the phenomenon, we cannot know the noumen. We cannot know the substance. We see the color, we see the way, we see the relation, but we cannot see the I. I see the I through my activity, through my matter, through my qualities, my color, etc. In fact, did you ever see your eye? You see your face, you see the color, the eye. But it is there. Because it is the same eye who speaks, the same eye who thinks, the same eye who eats, the same eye who studies, etc. Okay? So a substance cannot be attributed. Substance are the substantial things having a basic existence. So they have a basic existence. In fact, they are at the foundation of the existence of things. The foundation is I, is my substance. So the accident can change. I am young, I am a baby, I am old, I am the same. I am not the same. My identity is the same, but my accident change. You know? That is very important in theology. Think about, I remember when I studied for catechism, we learned many words we did never understood. And one of the words I never understood when I was young was transubstantiation. It's a good word for Scrabble. Transubstantiation. Here you have substance. If you don't know what is substance, you cannot know What means transubstantiation? Substance, it is what is permanent, permanent under the change. Substance is my eye. It is what is permanent. All that accidents are changing. But in the mystery of the Eucharist, what happened? The accident stayed the same, and the substance changes. That means we keep the same phenomenon, but we have a new lumen. We have a new substance. Transubstantiation. So you cannot study, if you don't know, categories. The notion of substance and accident. I go now to accidents. So the accidents are in the substance. And they exist in the being. They don't exist in itself, they exist in another. They exist in another. Quantity, quality exists in another. Is the reason why I can change, I am the same. Science tells me every 7 years you change all your cells, but I continue to be myself, even if my cells change. So accidere means to fall, move forward to fall. And they are attached. They don't exist in themselves, they exist in another. They don't have autonomy of existence. They exist in. The color, for example. The color green, the color black, the color, any color exists in another. Color cannot exist in itself. Weight cannot exist in itself. It exists in a material thing. The weight of something, the dimension. That means accidents exist in the substance.
Well, does every substance have all 9 accidents?
Not necessary. Yeah, we see that. But they must have at least the most important quantity and quality. We see that. Okay? So definition. An accident is a secondary aspect of the substance. Secondary aspect of the substance. Cannot exist in its own right, it cannot exist in itself, it can exist only in another as in a subject. So substance is the subject, and the accidents are the predicate in the subject. So I would say Habakkuk is 6 feet high. Habakkuk is handsome. Habakkuk is the son of Rabbi Jacob. You know? So the accident has no existence in themselves, they exist in the subject. And the subject is carrying, is under the accident. Is carrying the accident. We say sometimes that the accident in ear. That means inherent in Latin, that means ear inherent means to stay, to adhere to, to stick to attach to. In ear, they are in, exist in. So their essence is to exist in, and the substance to exist in itself, the other exists in another. Okay? So we have 9 categories, 10 boxes. The first is the box of substance. It is the whatness of a thing, the essence of a thing. Okay? Nature. After that, we have 9 accidents. Here I give you the kind of GPS. After that, we study one by one. Okay? I will go faster here. So we have accident which exists in the intrinsic way. They are intrinsic to the substance. That answers your question, Jim. They are intrinsic. That means you cannot have a substance without, material substance without them. So we have substance, and we have 9 accidents. And among the accidents, we have some accidents, they are intrinsic to the substance. And that accidents are quantity and quality. That means as soon as you have material substance, a substance which is material, you must have quantity and you must have quality, at least the color. To see that, can you close the door, please? So intrinsic. Huh? In here, well, two facets here. Excuse me. I wish I had that the other way. Intrinsic can be quantity, and quantity is attached to matter. Huh? Quantity is attached to matter, but not any kind of matter. Matter quantify, to quantify matter. That means matter which is measured. Not prime matter, but second matter. We can have we cannot have a way, we cannot have a dimension if there is no matter, but matter quantified. Well, I will come to that in the future. We call that the principle of individuation. I will not explain that, it's too long. We will see that. So the quantity is attached to matter, and the quality is attached to the form. Here, remember, isomorphism. Thing, the desk is made with matter and form. Everything is made with matter and form. It is not the matter who enter your senses, it is the form. And that form is falling under senses, so they are without quality. It can be the color, it can be the taste, it can be the texture of a thing, it can be the temperature and the weather, etc. Okay? Quality. Now, well, those are intrinsic. That means I cannot have a material substance, without having quantity and quality. Now, there is another accident which is half intrinsic. It is partially intrinsic. And partially extrinsic. That means it is partially in the substance and partially outside of the substance. In that accident, which is partially intrinsic and extrinsic, it is relation. Well, I give you an example. The relation between your father and his son. Well, that relation we call fatherhood. Where is, properly speaking, fatherhood? It is in the father. The fatherhood is not in the son. The fatherhood is intrinsically in the father. But if there is no son, can I say there is a father? So the relation is partially intrinsic in the father, but extrinsic in the son. The fatherhood is not intrinsically in the son, it is intrinsically in the father, but extrinsically in the son, because there is no father without son. If you take another relation, filiation, or sonship, you have a son and you have a father. Where is intrinsically the relation filiation? Where is it? In the son. It is the son can be seen, the son of, but there is no son if there is no father. Therefore, that is it. The relation of filiation is intrinsically in the son and extrinsically in the father. So that is the category relation. So we'll come back on that. After that, you have accidents which are extrinsic to the substance. Extrinsic. So we have first action and passion. This set of the essence of mover or move. Or moving, move. Well, mover is action. The mover is acting. And the move is receiving, is passion. So we have to explain that. But that they are extrinsic to the substance. They affect the substance. They change, they give a determination to the substance, but they are not the essence of it. They are not necessary to the substance. For example, you kick a ball, you are the mover of the ball. And the ball is moved by you. But the fact you kick the ball, it is not essential to you. It's not it is intrinsically a part of yourself. Or the ball to be kicked is not necessarily in its nature. It is extrinsic. Okay? Action and passion. And now another one related to measure. Here it is move or not move, and the other is, that is here, related to causality. Causality. And finally, we have the regard of measure. The substance as being measured. So we have the place. Of course, if we speak about measure, we speak about quantity. Quantity. It is related to quantity. If there is no quantity, there is no measure. So in regard of the place, we have the where. In regard of the position, we have position, or citrus, position. And in regard of time, we have when. There are three divisions of mode of being. And finally, we have something completely extrinsic to the body, but attached accidentally to the body. We call possession. Having, possession. Or habit. So we have the 10 categories. We have a GPS of the 10 categories. Now what we do, we study them one by one. One by one, we try to understand those categories. Why they are important? Because it is using those categories that we can define. We define using the 10 boxes. We know things through the boxes. Okay? So now specific categories. So the substance can be considered at 2 points of view. You have the substance as individual or primary substance, and secondly, you have universal and secondary substance. In fact, the first level and the second level. A substance, primary, it is the existent. It is the thing in itself. The second level, it is the substance in your mind. Don't forget, the first level, it is to know what is a thing. The second level, it is to know that we know the thing. It is the knowledge of the knowledge. So we have a first knowledge of thing, and we have the knowledge of the first knowledge we have. And that second is, we call second level of abstraction, so the second level of knowledge. Okay, so let us go to individual substance. So I already explained, stands under, the 9 accidents. Okay? Individual substances are readily found in all natural bodies. That means a mosquito, a flower, an elephant, a man is a substance. Is a substance, is a natural body. And also, not only that, but the parts of the body are also substance. are entered in the substance. For example, the leaves of a tree are substance. So we can say this leaf is red, this leaf is green, you know, okay? And you can also speak about the part of your body. You can say, my arm is broken, you know? My head is tired. Okay. So primary substance stands for basic subject. Don't forget the substance. In fact, we should put that here. Is under all that. All that is in the substance. So the substance is the basic subject, basic foundation, supporting all the rest. All the rest. I continue. But primary substance cannot be said nor predicated. We saw that. We cannot use a substance as a predicate. We cannot say a man is a John as a subject too. Okay. Never a predicate. They are always a substance subject. Subjectum. Starring. To stay under. So now we can say that only accident can be applied to a substance. In fact, the predicate are the accident. Quantity, quality, all that are applied to a substance. So the substance is the subject. Is the one who support all the. So the substance is a subject, predicate, the accidents are attributes. They are applicable to the subject. But sometimes you will see some exception, we will see that in the, that an accident can be considered as a substance. I give you an example, a rose. Rose is a color. But rose is also a flower, you know, sometimes. So this rose is red, this rose is rose. Okay, I come to, a primary substance cannot be said, okay, I spoke about that. So a substance cannot be said of something else, but an accident can be said of something else. So substance is supporting all the accidents. It cannot be applied to accident, but all accident can be applied to the substance. Okay? Excuse me if I repeat, but it is the mother of learning. Okay. But because primary substance is singular, because we speak about material, if it is material, it is necessarily singular. Matter is always singular. This dog, this cat, this house. It cannot be a predicate. Now, if I go to the second level, B, universal or secondary substance, or the concept, is the nature, is the whatness, is the essence of the thing. Here we are on the second level of intention. So we can say, I don't know if I corrected the text here. Yes, okay, it's good. The secondary or universal or secondary substance can be predicated. So, secondary substance, that means the concept. For example, I can say John is a man. Now, man is a substance, but at the second level, that substance is not this man, it is any man. Therefore, I can use it as a predicate. I can say John is a man. And man is the substance. But it is at the universal, abstract, so applicable to any kind of man. But the individual cannot be a predicate. For example, I cannot say my Lou or Milou, it's the name of a dog, he is white and black. Noni, my dog. I cannot say my Noni is, I can say Noni, Milou is black and white, but I cannot say white and black is Milou or Fido. I cannot convert. You know, I can't say, oh, my dog, Noni, is black with a white triangle just under the mouth. A real clergy dog. I cannot say black and white is Noni. Cannot say that. Or sometimes in poetry, the poem, they do that, but logically we cannot do that. Okay? So a substance is called second when precision is made from individual existences. From the first level of knowledge, we abstract a category which is universal. So a complete substance is one that can exist per se. I told you I prefer in itself or in its own right. I prefer in itself or in its own right. Good exercise, huh? Mm-hmm. I don't go to the gym. My class is my gym. So I prefer in itself or in its own right. So if you see in the text in its own right, think in itself, okay? Per se. So incomplete substances are incapable of actual existence by themselves. Each one requires the other for the actual existence of their composite. I will explain that. Primary matter and substantial form. Body and soul. For example, for the desk here, wood is not a desk. The idea of desk is not a desk. The idea of desk with the wood, it is a desk. So that means substance of wood alone is not a desk. Matter alone is not a desk. The form alone is not a desk. Is not a desk. Take the case of man, the body and soul. The body alone is not a substance. Because if we are alone, my body is dead. And soul, as a human being, my soul does not exist outside of my body. They exist in my body. So both of them make my substance. But in the case of man, my soul after death will be, that is another problem. And for the moment, we are composed with incomplete substance. They are co-principle of my existence. Co-principle. They go together. They go together. And when one is disappearing, for example, you have a chair made with wood. You have the idea of chair, you have the form and the matter, but the chair is completely destroyed in a fire. Do you have a chair? No. No more chair. No more substance, because the form, the matter disappear and the form disappear. You know? Okay? So substance is independent in its existence and source of activity. And substance is independent. That means my substance does not depend on my accident. As a living being, my substance does not depend on my accident. My accident can change. I continue to exist. You know? Okay? But my substance is the source of my activity. Here, interesting, you remember what we studied last week? We studied that we have the definition, definition or the whiteness, the quiddity, etc. And we have the essence of a thing. an opposition with existence, and we have the nature of a thing, which is the essence as principle of activity. Or here we see the substance is principle of activity. Interesting, no? What does that mean? That means they are practically synonymous. Because my substance is the source of my activity. My substance, in fact, is my nature, no? Is my nature. So my nature is source of action. We saw that action, or passion, or position, or motion, or quantity, or quality. I can affect my substance is source of is even source of change. My substance is my nature, is the reason why I study. Why do you study tonight? Because you are a substance. If you have no substance, I will be in front of the desert. The substance is, in fact, it is your nature. My nature, my essence. But consider at another point of view. Here, it was considered at the point of view of definition. Here, the point of view of existence. Man, rational animal, can exist or cannot exist. Nature, it was the essence, rational animal, as source of activity. And now we say substance is also source of our activity. So, but here, when I speak about substance, I speak about substance with accident. Here, accident not enter in the notion of nature. You know, those notions are very, very close. What is my substance? Is to be a rational animal, to have a body and a soul. The rest is accidental. My body can be big, can be small, can be slim, it can be round, it can be flat. My soul can be holy, it can be not holy, it can be learned, it can be ignorant. I. In my eye is the principle of my activity. Very, very important. Excessively important. Why? Because if your substance, if your I is the principle of your activity, when you do a good action, you are responsible for the good action. It is you who do the good action. If you do a bad action, you are responsible for the bad action. So responsibility comes from here. Because my substance is to be rational, like my nature also is to be rational. So my substance, my I is responsible. Because I am the source of my activity. If I study, if I eat, if I decide to do something good, to share with the poor, etc., that is I. That I is the responsible for the rest. When you go, a criminal killed someone with a dagger, with a big knife. He goes to the court, he said, His Honor, I'm not guilty. My hands are guilty. I'm not guilty. Nobody will say that, Nobody will say that. So, you know, when you were a young parent and your little child arrived with a lot of chocolate here, and chocolate, you say, hey, who did that? Oh, no, it is not, it's my hands. No, your bottom is your also. We are one. Because we are one, all our activities are unified. I can say I eat, I can say I sleep, I can say I study, I can say I pray, I can say I travel. It's always I. I have a lot of activity. All that is the one substance I. and that I is the cause of those activities. And therefore, in the level of morality, I am responsible. Okay? Now, quantity. Quantity is the first accident attached intrinsically to the material being, to the substance of a material being. I have no material being if I don't have matter. Here we are not in theology, we don't speak about angels. We speak only about material being, sensible. They are in time and space. They are measurable, they are divisible, we can divide them. And I will add a fourth quality, it's not here, but write that. They are impenetrability. I don't know if it is very English, but it is Latin. That means one cannot enter the other. Every material being occupies is space. If you have two blocks, two boxes here, similar, exactly the same. Exactly. Are they identical? Are they identical? No. It cannot enter one on the other. Matter excludes matter. Oh, Father, you are not right. Because I can take 2 volumes of gas and put that in the same box. Oh yes, but the pressure is double. See that? Because we are more at home, so the pressure is double. And penetrability. That is a characteristic very important of quantity. So there is no two beings on earth identical. Not 2 grains of sand identical. Not 2 flower, not 2 little stem of herb identical. Not 2 sparrow. Everything is distinguished from another from its quantity. It is because of quantity that we are different. We are similar by our substance. We are different by our quantity. Okay? So we are in space. And 2 kinds of quantity. The first quantity, it is called continuous quantity. It is quantity having a common boundary. For example, the part of the cake before being cut into parts. So we have a cake. For example, here, that is it is a continuous extension, continuous quantity. That means here, that part here, is the continued part of the other, and that. Everything is the continuity of the other part. Okay? But if I cut the cake to give each my friend, my children a part, that I have discrete quantity. Now I can count. I can say 8 parts, 6 parts, 7 parts. That is separately. So what is, in fact, if I go to the other determination, then the square, that kind of continuity, continuous, they are for lines, for surfaces, and so for solid. For example, that is continuous. A line is continuous. But if I cut the board here in section, I give you one for you and one for another. It is discrete, discrete extension, discrete. They are separated. Okay. But in quantity, we have no contrary. That means quantity is quantity. If you have 5 pounds of carrot, you have 5 pounds of carrot. It is that. It is 5 tomatoes equal 5 tomatoes. And that is, we say, there is no contrary. But we can have between material things equal or unequal. equality or inequality. But the quantity in itself, they are that or they are not that. I have $5 or I don't have $5. $5 is $5. 2 is 2. You know? Okay? Each material thing has a precise quantity at a precise time. And that is that. You know, that day I have in my wallet $25. And that day forever, for all eternity, it will be $25. That is quantity. There is no contrary in quantity.
Father, remind me of, I was over at a friend's house one time, he was making spaghetti, and he had too many people there. So he said, okay, I'll fix that. He broke the spaghetti in half, thinking that would feed more people. But it was still a pound of spaghetti.
Now it is what Jesus said, now then, multiply the bread. He broke the bread, but contrary to spaghetti, each one have enough. Huh? Okay, quality. Now quality is also attached essentially, intrinsically to the substance, quality. So quality indicate what is that? Qualis, such, Latin, such, qualis. It is a certain sort of kind of being. It is, Aristotle said, that accident by which a thing is such and such. Or if you want, the characteristic attached to quantify matter. And they are the characteristics attached to quantify matter. Attached to quantify matter. So that is secondary matter. Matter existing already. For example, the plank of wood. So they are the characteristic attached to a matter, to quantity. Because if there is no quantity, there is no possibility of quality. Because the substance, to be material, must be quantified. So the foundation is quantity. If there is no quantity, there is no quality, there is nothing. There is no material. The characteristic of material being, substance, which material substances, it is the fact they have quantity, quantified matter, quantified matter. And that quantified matter now can support characteristic, can support qualities. So this figure indicates how the thing is, its sense, quality and shape, attached to being, or how it acts, its habits and ability. So you have two aspects, is and acts, does, makes. So we have quality attached to our way of being, and quality attached to our way of acting. Okay? So now, if I go to Merriam-Webster here, he speaks about what is a quality, a faculty. What about faculty? Oh, excuse me, I forgot something important. How it acts, what is that? It is what we call the habits. The habits. I will speak about that in a few minutes. The habits of the powers of the faculties. So I have powers, I have faculties. St. Thomas speaks about the parts of the soul. That means for example, my soul can think, can will, I can have emotion, I can have appetite, I can reason. All that are powers. We say faculties. We say faculties, we say powers. And St. Thomas speaks about the parts of the soul. Oh, it's only a parenthesis. So quality is the accident used to describe a thing. So when we want to describe a thing, we don't use only quantity. For example, if I ask you what is a beaver, you don't say it's an animal whose weight is 45 pounds and have 2 square feet of volume. No. You give me other, other details. That means you give me, you describe the thing through also its quality, its color, its odor, its smell, etc. So we have here, first, look at the text. I read the text, explain. Quality is the accident used to describe a thing. The characteristic flow from the substantial form. In fact, the quality are reflecting the nature of our substance. Don't forget that. How I can know you are intelligent? Through my qualities, through my activity, intellectual activity here. I know somebody understands because he is acting, he is laughing, etc. I don't know directly, I know indirectly. Okay? Secondly, two, and from the external qualifying form, one obtains the first clue of the inner substantial form. In brief, the qualities are the external suchness, or the form of a thing. What makes a thing that thing and not the other? What makes a beaver different from a ground, I would say the animal, ground, what makes a fish, a salmon, different from a cod? They are fish. So we have to examine the form, examine the suchness, the characteristic, the qualities. And the qualities, we know, in fact, we know the substance through the form to the activities. Jesus said we know a tree from its fruit. We cannot know the substance directly, but we know what is the substance through the qualities, through the action. I will see that. So 4 kinds of qualities. First, how a thing acts, or the habits or disposition. Habits, we see that during the semester, is acquire operational structure. Or acquire. We acquire a way of acting, playing the piano, for example, studying logic, which is durable, I hope, durable. Because disposition is temporary. For example, when you were a kid, then adolescent, you met your father because you needed $10 for a party, for example, at school, $10. So you look at your father, and your father was smiling, he was singing, oh, I had good time. Oh, father, you know, we are best father. Okay, $10. 1 month after, you have another party, and you want to ask your father $10, but the father, disposition. Disposition is temporary. We can have a good, but the habit is permanent. Disposition. Somebody are very kind only for a certain time. That is disposition. Those are kind for all their life. That is a habit. It's a virtue. Okay? The second is ability or capacity, inability, innate capacity. It is a power we have in our nature. I read that. Qualification of a thing which is its proximal source of operation. Proximal source of operation. That means those who are close to as a source of operation. For example, my ability to perceive things, to see things. So my incapacity or my power. So we have many power. We have vegetative power, we grow, we assimilate. We have sensitive power, we can see. So we have natural ability, or sometimes we don't have those abilities. For example, if I am blind, I don't have the ability to see. If I'm deaf, I don't have the ability to listen, to hear. We have also many. But that is how a thing acts. It is a quality. It is a quality also how the thing falls on our senses, how it is. And in that we have the color, the sound, and the texture, the temperature. All those things are modifying the substance. For example, water is water. Well, water can be cold, water can be hot. You know, what is water? So the substance is the same, but the quality can be different. So we cannot say that hot water is the same as cold water. Water is water, but one is cold, but you know, qualifying. Qualifying. It's the same. You have an honest man and you have a dishonest man. Both are men, but one is qualified in such a way and the other in another way, you know, and that influences your relation with him. You have also another way of qualifying substance is the form and the figure, the size, the shape. It can be a natural shape, like an orange. It can be an artificial shape, like, for example, the form of a chair. And you have many forms of chair. That is artificial, it's not natural. Okay? So it is the qualification of a thing which referred to its shape, whether natural or artificial. In fact, the figure limits terminate the quantity of a substance. My substance is limited by my qualities determining my quantity. You know, the form of my body, for example, the form of the volume. Here, the being of that is limited by the quality, that quality of being trapezoid, for example, or rectangular, limit the substance of that piece of wood. Okay? Now a word about, now we have contraries. Some quality accept contraries. That means you can have black and white. And from black and white we have all the colors, gray and pale, etc. So there are degrees in quality. So we can measure the quality not by a rule, but by comparison. We say that water is what we are instrument. We compare with an instrument we call a thermometer, or we compare between two things. You go to the restaurant, to the store. You have a tomato, another tomato. You look at that. You touch. Sometimes you should not, but you touch it, and finally you see that one. You know. So we compare the qualities. We compare that with I do examination. You know, I compare the result. You know? So a relation now. We said that relation is partly intrinsic and partly extrinsic in the substance. So the relation with one's parent, with friends, a relation can be also a comparison. I can compare two persons. I can compare two objects. I can compare two weather. Today it was sunny. Today is better than yesterday because it was raining. So we compare. But when we compare, we make a relation. Relation. Okay. So what is a relation? It is a thing which is the bearing or reference of that which thing toward another thing. John is the son of Paul. So the reference, it is in John as son, but it is also in Paul as father. I explained that before. Okay? So the problem, what is about a thing that causes is to be related to another thing. In fact, what is the foundation of the relation? When you have a contract, you have a term and you have a subject and you have an object and you have a foundation for the relation. So what is the foundation for the relation? What is the title? That is very important. For example, we have a man with a woman. The foundation can be the marriage. It can be preparation to marriage. It can be also adultery. It can be brother and sister. You know. So what is the foundation? Making that relation between two realities. So we have two basic attributes in relation. We have the basic quantity, the foundation based on quantity. That is heavier. 1, 2, 3. It he has more numerous, less numerous, equal, unequal, etc. And the second is the relation based on action and passion. That means when there is an action, there must be somebody putting the cause in relation with the effect. So that we have, for example, we have the father and son, the relation, action, master and slave. We have employer, boss to employee, leader, etc. In fact, if you look in English, most of the time the word ending by er are the foundation of the relation. Mother, father, builder, baker. Many, many times in English we use the word finalized by er. Okay? So you have a page after that on relation. I think it's worth it to explain that rapidly. You have four kinds of relation. We have the relation we call predicamental. It is the relation we are studying now. The relation of in the categories. John is the father of Paul. So fatherhood, filiation, etc. Okay? There is a contingent relation. The relation is contingent. For example, it is contingent that you are the father of a son, and the son is. You can be yourself without being a father. Before having a child, you will be I. After having a child, you continue to be I. Your substance is the same. But you have something new, you have a new relation. But the fact you are father is not essential to you. It is not in your substance. It's not the case for God in Holy Trinity. But for us, to be a son, for me, is not essential. My essence is not to exist as a son. But I am the son of Antonio Legault, my father. But it is not my I. But it is attached to my I as an accident. It does not enter in my substance. But it is my substance is attached to that relation. That it is predicamental. Now you go to transcendental. Because they go together. Transcendental. Transcendental, it is a relation which is necessary. Here it is contingent. Here it is necessary. Now here I give you three examples. The first is the relation between creation and God, creature and God. That relation is we cannot exist without God, transcendental. We cannot think a creature without a necessary to the Creator. It is impossible. I cannot think the existence of creature without, or contingent, without the existence of God. And that is the foundation of the proof of the existence of God we study probably in April. Think about the mathematics. In mathematics, the triangle there is a relation, necessary relation between three-side triangle. When you study metaphysics, we will study the transcendental being. And we see that being is one, that being is true, that being is good. And good, true, and one are the transcendental. That means we cannot have being without having one, true and good. Well, I don't explain that for the moment, but that's the word transcendental. It is not contingent, it is absolutely necessary. Now we have another division. We have real relation and logical relation. Well, a real relation, a relation of one real thing to another really distinct from it. For example, the relation between myself and my father, Antonio, that is a real relation. It's not in my mind, The relation between the teacher and his student. It is a real relation. Okay? A relation existing independently of my mind. It's not a creation of my mind. Okay? But in fact, the relation is a kind of bridge between the tutor, between the father and between the son. Filiation to fatherhood is kind of bridge. In friendship, we have a relation. Joe and Paul, for example, they are friends. Well, they are friends because there is a bridge. There is a relation. Something uniting them. If that something is real, otherwise there will be no friendship. That is a real relation. But we can have also a logical relation. A logical, that means it is only in my mind, if you want. They are not real. For example, the predicable, we'll study that next week. The subject, for example, John. John is a golfer. If the relation between John and golfer is a relation of accident, predicable accident, like in grammar, you have the subject, the predicate, that is purely logical. There's a relation in grammar, in logic, they are logical. Logic is clear. A concept is logic. This apple is sweet, apple is subject, sweet is predicate, and the relation between them, accidental relation, is purely in my mind, it's not in the reality. Second, it is the attribute of God. When you study the philosophy of God, you will study that the attributes of God are not different from his essence. And God is infinitely simple. So the distinction is purely logical distinction between justice and mercy. And finally, some are related for non-objective reason. Well, the classical example is the following. The relation between God and man. And man and God. Does God depend on man?
No.
So the relation God has with man is a pure logical relation. Totally independent. But the relation man has with God is absolutely necessary. It is transcendental. Okay? But we will come on that. Action and passion. So you have the mover and the move. Both are correlative and they are extrinsic to the substance. They are not in the substance. So action is doing something, passion is not difficult. We speak here only about transient or transitive activities, operation. Because we have two kinds of operation. We have transitive operation. For example, I am talking, speaking, that is transitive. But you are thinking, you are assimilating, that is immanent. That means the fruit of your activity remains in you. You eat a steak, the cow remains in you, becomes you. It's immanent activity, and the car is glorified because she became a man now. Intelligent, no? You understand that? I appreciate that. I am in the nirvana. If I kick a ball, I play baseball, that is transitive. You speak, you act, transitive activity. You assimilate, you study, that become yourself. Is a it is an immanent activity. The result remains within you. So you have also intransitive activity. Both intransitive activity, in fact, they are immanent. You breathe, I breathe. I think, I grow, etc. I run. All that the benefit of those activities is in you. So we have activities which are passing to another, and we have activity which stay in ourselves. So when we speak about action, here we speak about transitive action. I kick the ball is kicked. Okay? Action, passion, and relation. And here's a link between them. There is a remark here. Immanent operation fall under the category quality. Indicate how a thing is or act. No, I don't insist on that. I go to the square. Action, riding. Passion is ridden, of course. And the rider. Command is commandant, commander. You know, I told that to you. The one who does the action, or the one who creates the relation, is most of the time the word end by er, er, er. Okay? Baker, baking, bake, baker. Singing, song, singer. Okay? Undertaking, undertaken, undertaker. Don't write that. That will come very. Maybe some money.
You're on the camera.
Oh yes. Okay. Now the extrinsic accident. Il y a the where, the place, the space, ubi, the position, the situation of the part of my body, kneeling, standing, laying on the bed, etc. When, time, they are external measures. And finally, the possession. In fact, it is proper to man. Aristotle did not speak about that, but in the Middle Age, they added that characteristic accident we call possession. To have a gun, to wear a shirt, to wear a clergy, etc. Because it is united to the subject, to the substance, but very, very far. Okay. Finally, a word about the rule of the categories. So I have just 5 minutes for that. First rule. Only simple realities can be placed in a given category. That means when we put things one by one, if a thing is double, I have to separate that. I have to place thing. If it is an animal, I put the box animal. If it is a chair, in the box chair. You know, one thing at a time, at one place. One thing at a time. And when we study syllogism, and we see that. Because if we use many things at the same time, we are condemned to equivocal. The simple reality must be a whole, complete. The human foot, as a part of the body, is placed on the category substance. I told that to you. A member is considered as the substance. 3. The simple reality must be natural. An artificial thing, however, may be placed in some category because it imitates nature. In fact, it is by analogy. So we can say my car is red. I can say my car is like a substance, but in fact my car is not a substance. It's artificial. But by analogy, we can apply that, by analogy. Okay? The simple reality must be signified by a univocal word. Univocal word. Only the universal nature can be placed in this category. We don't place individual, we place only universal concept. So the categories are the ultimate kinds of predicates. They must be universal in their extension. And this cat is brown, but brown is not able to be applied to cat. So they are the 10 ultimate genera, and nothing is above. In fact, strictly speaking, we cannot define the categories. We cannot define being. They are the top, and above we cannot define. Okay? And finally, we have 4 minutes. The opposition following the categories. Well, I spoke about contrary between black and white. So we have to make the difference between contrary and contradictory. It is the opposition existing between the positive extreme of a subject of the genus. For example, water can be hot and can be cold. It can be all between. Okay, that is contrary. It is a mutual exclusion. But in the same genus, black and white. For example, you consider shirt black, shirt white. But we are in the about shirt, you know, okay? Contrary. So it is true that neither contrary may be present in such subject at the same time. Of course, a thing cannot be at the same time cold and hot at the same aspect, at the same time. Okay? But the opposition, and the opposition is the most important, it is contradictory opposition. Contradictory or contradiction. There is no middle. For example, black and non-black, white and non-white, cold and non-cold. If you say cold and warm, that is contrary. If you say cold and non-cold, that is contradiction. So we'll study that next in 2-3 weeks when we study the opposition of proposition. But it's good to know that now. There is only one choice between the two lone possibilities, the only possibility, true or false. And that is, I give you only an example, I have 1 minute, to prove the importance of that. You know, if you study Marxism, Marx bases his theory of revolution on contradiction. He is using Hegel. So Hegel, I say thesis, antithesis, synthesis. So we have that, we have another regime, and we have a third regime. But in fact, what Marx says, contradiction is the essence of things. In fact, what Marx says, what Hegel says, is not contradiction, it is contrary. Contrary, not contradiction. So that means contradiction is totally, it is, one cannot accept absolutely nothing in common with the other. So when we read the history of Marxism, for example, that way they interpret the history of the world, they call revolution, but a revolution is not an absolute difference before. The same people continue to live. It is a contrary opposition. So if contradiction is the mother of history, and in fact it's not contradiction, the other theory of Marx fall down. We did that in philosophy, sociality. Okay, so I admire your patience, your courage. Is your substance tired? Yes. So next week, I hope I will find again your substance.